गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। ॐ तद्विष्णोः परमं पदं सदा पश्यन्ति सूरयः दिविव चक्षुराततम् ॐ वृषभं चर्षणीनां विश्वरूपमदाभ्यं बृहस्पतिं वरेण्यम् ॐ श्लीं ह्रीं ज्योतिर्ब्राह्माय नमः। Can everyone repeat Hare Ramakrishna 3 times? Om Hare Ramakrishna Hare Ramakrishna Hare Ramakrishna. Can everyone repeat Om Pam Parasharaya Namah 3 times? Om Pam Parasharaya Namah. Om Pam Parasharaya Namah. Om Pam Parasharaya Namah. So we are in verse 53, right? Okay. So we are in chapter 33, which is effects of Karakamsa. Karakamsa Phaladhyaya. Basically various houses from Karakamsa we are seeing. And we are looking at the 9th house from Karakamsa. Verse 53 on page 334 in Santanam's version. कारकांशाच्च नवमे गुरुभानुयुते क्षिते तदापि गुरुद्रोही स्यात् गुरुवाक्यं न मन्यते. कारकांशाच्च नवमे. In the 9th house from Karakamsa, Ravi Gurubhanuyute Kshite. Jupiter and Sun, Yuta Ikshita, means conjoined or aspected. Conjoined or aspected by either Jupiter or Sun. Tadapi means even then. Tadapi Gurudrohi Syat. He will do droha to Guru. He will deceive Guru. Guru Vakyam Namanyate. He doesn't listen to Guru's words. So why did he say this? Earlier he said Shani Rahu. In the previous verse that we did at the end of last class, in the 9th house from Karakamsa, if Shani Rahu Yutekshite, Saturn and Rahu, they will make the person Gurudrohi Baled Bhaved Balaha Shastra Mukhonra. He is not interested in Shastras and he will not listen to Guru. Yeah. Droha is not exactly cheating. Droha means letting down. He lets the Guru down. Can be cheating, but droha basically means disappointing. Okay. So, why is he deceiving Guru, or why is he deserting Guru, or why is he disappointing Guru? And why doesn't he listen to Guru's word if it is Jupiter and Rahu? The thing is, Jupiter and Sun. Guru Bhanu Yutekshite. It basically means conjoined or aspected by Guru Bhanu. Guru Bhanu can be interpreted to mean Jupiter and Sun, or Jupiter or Sun. Whereas Sun or R is not clear here because they have been combined into one samasam, one word. He didn't say like Guru, he did not say, if he separated them both with their own vibhakti pratyayas, he would have had either R or and, Va or Cha, some connection word would have been there. You would have guessed. But he combined them by saying Guru Bhanu Yuta. So, it could mean one of them, or it could also mean both of them. Just like in the previous verse, Chandrahu Yuta means it could be a combination of the two planets, not just one. So, if it is Jupiter alone, can you justify this event? If Jupiter alone without Sun is conjoined in the 9th house from Karakamsa, does it make the person not listen to Guru?
He himself thinks as a teacher, Guru.
Okay.
That is the part.
And the ego is
Why would
it's an ego. We have a very bloated ego if you think in such terms. So
Yeah.
it should either be a mal-positioned Ravi and Guru situated, because that would let that person think that he's
Yeah.
bigger than his
Yeah.
Guru himself.
Why do you reason somebody?
That is one part.
Good, yeah. Any other thoughts? Yeah, right. Karga Bhavanasana. Okay, that's a valid way to look at it.
See, it is ninth was the aspirations of the
What does ninth house from Karkamsa actually show? Let's not say it shows Guru, not really. What does it show? Atmakarka shows your sense of self. And what does ninth house show?
aspiration of perceiving dharma, religious.
It is a sense of dharma, sense of duty, the sense of duty of the self, your inner self, sense of duty of your inner self. So your definition of who you are, the sense of duty of that. So it is your basic inner sense of duty. This is what I have to do. So thus being influenced by Jupiter and Sun. So what does it mean?
Something
Jupiter is the planet, pardon me?
something imposed on.
Jupiter is the planet of wisdom and Sun is the planet of authority and power and ego. So if Jupiter and Sun combination is there, is it possible that the person has a very strong, very authoritative sense of this is my dharma? And the thing is, because that Sun is with Jupiter, it also, Jupiter is the planet of wisdom. So when Sun and Jupiter are together, it's like the king and the minister, king and the priestly minister are together. So the thing is, the Sun feels very enabled. The Sun feels like he knows, he is in charge, he knows what to do. So the thing is, the sense of dharma of the person is influenced by such a Sun, who is under Jupiter's influence. So the person has a strong sense of dharma. This is what I need to do, and the sense of dharma is characterized by confidence, by authority, by the confidence that it is the right decision. There is a sense of righteousness. No, this is what I must do. So my take is, there are two verses here. One Shani Rahu, the other is Jupiter and Sun. Even though the result is the same, right? Basically, doesn't listen to Guru, and
One is positive sense, one is negative.
not really positive. Both are negative, but in different ways. In one case, it is because one's own sense of this is my dharma, this is my duty, is so strong that he can basically ignore even Guru. So he has so much confidence in his sense of right. So his soul basically has such a strong sense of this must be done, that he doesn't listen to anybody. Even if Guru says no, you should not do this, you should do this, he thinks no, this must be done. So here, this, in my judgment, here this is coming from a strong sense of right and wrong. Whereas in the other case, Shani Rahu influence, those are the planets of depletion. So when they are in the ninth house, what that means is, it's not just about not listening to Guru. It's about you don't believe in your sense of dharma is guided by disbelief, dismissal of things, skepticism, etc. That is why he not only says in the previous verse, Gurudrohi bhaved balaha shastreshu vimukho naraha. He is not interested in the shastras. So he is a non-believer basically. So in one case, this is the Gurudroha done by a non-believer, or maybe he puts on the garb of a believer for a while, he gets a Guru, he listens for a while, and then he says, this is all humbug, and then he walks away. Something like that is possible if it is Shani Rahu. On the other hand, if the influence is that of Jupiter and Sun, here also he is Gurudrohi, but and the stress is not that he doesn't believe in Shastras, he doesn't say like in the previous verse, but he doesn't listen to Guru. Guruvakyam na manjate. Manjate doesn't mean not exactly not listening. Manjate means giving respect. To say in Hindi, basically maan dena, manjate. So Guruvakyam na manjate means he doesn't really give respect to anything said by anybody. Huh?
agreeing to.
He doesn't agree because he's so overconfident in his own sense of this must be done.
But it cannot be taken as negative, right? If you, suppose Guru is not good, suppose he thinks that.
But if Guru is good, let's say, suppose somebody has a really good Guru, who knows what is right and what is wrong, then this person having such a strong, just because you have a strong sense of right doesn't mean you are right. It only means the soul has a strong sense of this must be done, righteousness, strong sense of self-righteousness. This is the right thing to do. He feels so confident, as though he just knows. But the thing is, you can be wrong. You never know.
Not Sierra or Jupiter itself, so maybe they are guiding in some strong senses.
They are just guiding the Atma's sense of Dharma. They are not necessarily guiding their. Yeah, basically what you are saying is right. It may not be wrong, but the thing is, there may be a much better thing to do actually. A much higher Dharma. If you have a good Guru, it's worth just having blind belief and without questioning. Sometimes it may not make sense, but if you just follow it, it will be for good. But the problem is having the right Guru. See, if you don't have a right Guru, suppose your Guru tells you so-and-so people of so-and-so religion are bad people, God hates them, you should go and kill them, as many of them as you can. If you do that, heaven awaits you. Suppose that's what your Guru tells you, and you do it. Then what will happen to you? If there is a rock that is falling from the mountain, and if there is a moth that sticks to the rock, thinking, no, I can't get out of this rock, I must be on this rock, right? It can fly away. But as the rock is falling, suppose it sticks to the rock. When the rock falls, the moth can die. The rock actually can fall on the moth. So, like that, if your Guru is not right, if your Guru is not perfect, then blindly following him can crush you. But the key is this: if the faith is really complete, if the faith is so perfect that despite, suppose, like in the case of Bhagavan Nityananda, right now there is a controversy. So all his Gurus will be, not Gurus, sorry, all his Sishyas, they will be disillusioned. They will think, oh, what is this? But the thing is, if there is one person out there who still thinks this is Shiva, that's it, my Guru is Shiva, or whoever he thinks, this is God, this is something going on, some testing going on. He doesn't even have to say all this is doctored video, he doesn't even have to believe it. Maybe it is real, but I am nobody to judge. It is some Leela that he is engaging in. Maybe there is some higher purpose, I don't know what is going on. Like that, if he gives the benefit of doubt and doesn't unnecessarily become judgmental in things that he doesn't need to judge. World is not banking on you and me to judge everything, right? We have to judge what is relevant to us, and then we have to do what is our dharma. So if he leaves all matters relating to Guru without judging, and if he just believes blindly that person is perfect, and takes that person's words, then the thing is, if such faith is there till the end, not if it in the middle, if it basically wavers, then it's no good. Till the end, if you keep that faith, then you are made. You don't need a Ramakrishna Paramahansa or Vivekananda or Ramana Maharshi to be your Guru. Any idiot can serve as Guru, as long as you have such perfect faith. As a matter of fact, if there is at least one Shishya with such perfect faith in a Guru, Guru himself will eventually be transformed. He will reach. So it works both the ways. Just like husband and wife. If husband thinks wife is Parvati and wife thinks husband is Shiva, and if they have such perfect faith in each, perfect love for each, then eventually both will become Shiva and Parvati. That is the thing. So anyway, so whether you have a perfect Guru or not, having blind faith is a great idea. But the thing is, if you don't have a perfect Guru and if you yourself are not a perfect person, it is very difficult to have that unwavering and blind faith. It will waver at some point of time. So it's basically no good. I think, I forget who the Guru was. There was some story that I read long back in some book. There was a Guru, I think in the Dattatreya lineage. He was... Okay, the next verse is... Okay. Yeah. The next verse is Karakamsyacha Naume Shukra Bhomajute Ekshide Shadvargadika Yogedu Maranam Paradarikam. Karakamsyacha Naume, in the 9th house from the Karakamsya, Shukra Bhoma Yutekshite. Mars and Venus are either conjoined or aspecting the 9th house from Karakamsya. Shadvargadika Yogetu means there is a new criterion here. Shadvargadika yogetu. What does it mean?
In more than 6 vargas.
Yeah, Shadvargadika yogetu. Shadvargadika.
The same yoga exists in more than 6 vargas.
Right. Then Maranam Paradarikam means
Death is inevitable.
Paradarikam means otherwise.
yeah, so Maranam Paradarikam. It can be interpreted in two ways. Death of woman belonging to somebody else. Or Maranam Paradarikam. It shows death and also it shows having relation with another person. So this is a little weird. Shadvargadika yogetu Maranam Paradarikam. Let's see how Santanam translated. This basically does not really gel well. Something is wrong there. He said, should Mars and Venus be so related as above and joining in 6 identical vargas, a female unrelated to the native will die. The thing is, Paradarikam means having an affair with somebody else's woman. So, Paradara basically, having a relationship with Paradara. So that can be interpreted, but Maranam doesn't really fit there. Maranam Paradarikam. So there's something wrong there. Maranam and using the 9th house from Karakamsa to show death again doesn't make sense. So something is amiss. Some word is corrupted there. Maranam doesn't make sense there. It must be some other word. So we'll leave that word. But the thing is, an affair with somebody else's woman is possible. Why?
Why 6 vargas? What is
That is the other thing too. Shadvargadika yogetu. Basically, if this influence on the 9th house from Karakamsa by Venus and Mars is in multiple vargas, bottom line. It's not just in one varga. We'll come to that part a little later. But why Venus and Mars influence on the 9th house from Karakamsa will show affairs.
because dharma is because of negative planet being with Venus, maybe
Venus is the Karaka for
a lot of
sensuousness, etc., relationships with women or the opposite sex, right? So Venus is the Karaka, and also he is the Karaka for pleasure, and Mars is the planet for aggression, excess, etc. So Venus and Mars combination, this can create excess in the matter of pursuit of happiness, pursuit of pleasures, pursuit of luxuries, etc. So Venus-Mars combination can give some licentiousness, and especially in the Venusian matters. And this being in the 9th house from Karakamsa, 9th house is the sense of dharma. So that licentiousness can basically that licentiousness can rob one of the sense of dharma. So just like Shani Rahu being in the 9th house will show somebody who is skeptical, Venus and Rahu in the 9th house can show somebody who can break dharma for Venusian matters with some licentiousness. And why Shadvarga? Okay, now which Varga should we apply this to? Navamsa? Well, relationships are seen in Navamsa, but and also pursuit of dharma, following dharma is seen in Navamsa. At the same time, the evils that you do, the papas that you do are seen in Trimsamsa. So Trimsamsa is also relevant. And finally, pursuit of pleasures, where is it seen? The sense of this is nice or this is not nice. D16. So D16, D30, D9, several vargas are basically standing out. So why he specifically said Shadvargadi? Because Shorsansa is not part of the Shadvargas. But he said Adhika. Shadvarga Adhika means the 6 vargas, etc. So he said Shadvargadika yogetu. He is basically saying this kind of yoga occurs in the 6 vargas, etc. So obviously it won't work in all vargas. In which case he would have defined Adi, exactly what Adi is. He is leaving it ambiguous. So what it means is, if it is happening in several vargas, instead of just one varga. In other words, all the results we have been seeing so far, we would have seen in D20, D10, one particular chart, right? So for this kind of event, he is suggesting, look at multiple charts. If it just happens in D9, maybe not. But if it happens in D9, D30, D16, 2 or 3 of those charts, right, then there is a good chance that the person will actually be having affairs.
So it is better not to have any planets there.
Pardon me?
It's better not to have any because we
In the
have
9th house?
covered 6 planets, Saturn, Rahu,
The thing is
Jupiter,
given its
Sun.
own
Everything is giving its own bad result, but it can give good results also, right? Let's say Venus and Mars is there. Mars can give a lot of fieriness. Venus can give a lot of passion. So Venus-Mars combination can give a lot of fiery passion about something. So whatever, and depending on what sign it is, who is the Lord and where he is, maybe the dharma is to build a temple, and the person will do with such passion and such fiery passion that even if the whole world is trying to conspire against him, he will somehow construct a temple. That is also possible. So the thing is, you can't just, this is just one possibility, right? Same with Shani Rahu. Shani Rahu, he said he is not interested in the Shastras, but the thing is, they make you skeptic. Rahu makes you skeptic and think outside the box. Cross the boundaries. That's what Rahu does. And that may mean you basically leave the boundaries of tradition and you don't believe in the Shastras. It could also mean you expand the boundaries. You may research into other religions. You may be born a Christian and then you may find out about Buddhism or Hinduism. You may do research and you may like it. Maybe you will become an ascetic, a Hindu ascetic, having been born as a Christian. Then also, that also can be given by Shani Rahu in the 9th house from Karakamsa. So like that, there are different indications that are possible. And Parasara obviously gives only a couple of indications to give you an idea of what's going on. The next verse is Karakamsyacha Naome Gnendu Yukte Kshite Dvija Parastri Sangamad Balo Bandhako Bhavati Dhruvam Karakamsyacha Naome. In the 9th house from Karakamsya, Gnendu Yukte Kshite Dvija. Gna Indu. Who is Gna? Knower, Mercury. Indu, moon. If Mercury or moon are either conjoining or aspecting the 9th from Karakamsa, then Parastri Sangamad Balo Bandhako Bhavati Dhruvam. Parastri Sangamad means Parastri Sangamad means by getting together with another person's woman. Okay, by having an affair basically. Parastri Sangamad, by having an affair, Balo, the person, Bandhako Bhavati Dhruvam. He said Bandhako. Bandhako means one who actually causes imprisonment. Bandham karoti iti bandhakaha. Ka means causing. So he causes bandha. He is not saying he will be imprisoned. He causes imprisonment. Of course, he may also be imprisoned, but strictly speaking, what he is saying is, in this combination, he will cause imprisonment. And now again, instead of being too specific, let's generalize a little bit and say, he will cause trouble. He will not only have affairs, but on account of affairs, there will be some controversy, some trouble, etc. He may even cause somebody to be, maybe the person he is having affair with, to be imprisoned. Now let's understand why. Why this result? Why this result?
The Chapala, because of Mercury and Moon combination, by wavering in the
Yeah, exactly. Moon is the planet of mind. And Moon, he basically, he changes his nature with time. One day he is full, one day he is empty, one day he is half, one day he is 1/3. So Moon is Moon is a planet who wavers a lot. And if Mercury is again a planet who wavers, who is very unstable. So two planets of that nature, very emotional and unstable planets. Two planets, Moon and Mercury, if they are together in the 9th house from Karakamsya, then what will happen is, the person's sense of dharma, sense of right and wrong, is wavering. In other words, he doesn't have strong, this is right, this is wrong kind of sense. He is basically changing with the wind. So, if somebody is changing somebody's dharma, sense of dharma, not dharma, sense of dharma, inner sense of dharma, he is changing like the wind, then the person will do all kinds of things. Forget just Parastri Sangama. It may not just be an affair with a woman. He may do so many things. But basically, he may not be a bad person, but he will do some bad acts because he doesn't have a strong compass guiding him. This is not. One time his mind says this is not, another time it says this is not. So he is basically changing as the wind blows, the compass is moving, and he is basically doing all kinds of weird things. And if somebody is like that, somebody is so irresponsible like that, he will himself get in trouble and also get other people in trouble. He will be a very unreliable person and very wavering in nature. He goes with the wind. The next verse is But again, this is one possibility. Suppose they are strong. Suppose moon is exalted, or Mercury is exalted, or Mercury is in one sign, or moon and Mercury happen to be 9th and 10th lords, or something like that. Suppose there is a Raj Yoga. It can also mean moon shows somebody who is very gentle, right? Mercury also shows somebody who is very gentle. So he may be very diplomatic, he may be nice with everybody. So his sense of dharma may be not to hurt anybody. His sense of dharma may be such that he's nice with all people. He doesn't cause grief to anybody, and he's very gentle, very soumya, and it is also possible that he is very artistic. So many good results are also possible because of moon and Mercury. It's not just chaplatva, but that is definitely one possibility. So he is covering it. Actually, in this sense of lines for the 9th house results, except the first verse, he's giving all bad results only. He's not giving any good results, because 9th house is the house of dharma. It should basically show your dharma, but still he is showing the lack of it basically. So what he is saying is, though 9th house shows dharma, planets there, any weaknesses represented by planets there can show the adharma the person does. Different kinds of adharma you engage in, or different lack of your dharma basically, different kinds of lack in dharma. The next verse is Navame kevalena iva guruna cha yutekshite Srilolupo bhavejjato vishayi chaiva jayate. Interesting. Jupiter is alone. There is nobody else. No other planet aspecting or conjoining with Jupiter. Only Jupiter is engaged with the 9th house from Karkamsa. Then Srilolupo bhavejjata vishayi chaiva jayate. Srilolupaha means? Huh? Yeah, actually more than womanizer, Lolpa means one who, Lola basically, Srilol do in Telugu. Somebody who is very attracted to women and does whatever women say. He can do anything to get women. So that kind of person. And then, so he is addicted to women, and Vishayi. Vishayi means he is interested in Vishaya. Vishaya means? Vishaya means senses. Yeah, worldly matters and sensual pleasures basically. Vishaya, Vishayavancha, that is why they say for sensual pleasures they say Vishayavancha. Vishaya is the matter seen by the senses. So Vishayi Chevajayate means he is given to sensuous pleasures. We are here.
I think he has come to
Okay. Huh?
I can open another room if you want to.
That's okay. We are all set. These guys are doing yoga class there. They just came. So
Go to the Sai Baba temple is moved, so we can go to that room.
this is fine. This is fine.
I thought you came for that class. Yeah, no.
So why is he interested in sensual pleasures and women? Why?
Guru in the 9th house.
Yeah. What is the moral?
Don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, abundance. It should be abundant. I mean, it should.
Yeah. So Guru is the planet of abundance. Right? Guru is the planet of abundance. So actually he can give that also. He is definitely not saying that he is not ruling it out. This is one possibility. So do you think that this result is true always, or this is true only if the Jupiter has some affliction?
Only if it has some afflictions.
Maybe he is weak, he is in an inimical house, or he is in a Venusian sign, or he is in debility. So if Jupiter is weak, he can give this. Moreover, if you actually look at the results of Panchamahapurush Yogas, when you go back, if you go to the chapter on Panchamahapurush Yogas, you will see that Malav Yoga, he doesn't mention sensuous pleasures, happiness, etc. It is actually for Hamsa Yoga that he mentions those results. So the thing is, Venus, the Daityacharya, he doesn't really show, people think that Venus is the planet of pleasures, right? But the thing is, Venus is actually more disciplined than Jupiter. Venus can do 10,000 years upside down sadhana. He is that kind of sadhaka. Venus is basically a heavy sadhaka. The only thing is, he associates with demons. He chooses to teach even demons. Whereas Jupiter is refusing to teach anybody who is lowly. He teaches only gods. So that is the thing with Jupiter. But the thing is, Jupiter can show sensuous pleasures and those things. Basically, he is the planet of abundance, and he is the planet of he is a Kapha planet at the end of the day. Of course, Venus is also a Kapha planet, but Jupiter is a Kapha planet, and Kapha planets show strong vitality in the person. The person is strong and has a strong vitality. So he has the capability to basically engage in sensuous pleasures. Whereas if somebody with strong Vata tries to engage in sensuous pleasures, he will die. So the person physically has no ability to enjoy a lot, whereas somebody with a strong Jupiter will have the ability. Now, if the Jupiter is also afflicted, then there is a good chance that the person will be into enjoyments. So here, my take is, he says, Kevalena Guruna. Only Jupiter is conjoining or aspecting the 9th house. Now, that Jupiter has to be weak for this result, though it's not mentioned by Palastra. He is either debilitated or in a Venusian sign. Moreover, which divisional chart are we talking about here?
D16.
Huh? Do you think it's D9? That's what I wanted to ask. Do you think it could be true in D9? In D9, the chart of Dharma, if Jupiter is aspecting or conjoining the 9th house from Karakamsa, even if he is weak, do you think he will make the person a womanizer and interested in sensual pleasures and pursuing those? Unlikely. Jupiter, in the chart of Dharma, even a weak Jupiter will give some sense of Dharma. Whereas, if you are talking about a chart that shows your evils, like D30, right? If you are talking about that chart, every planet is showing some weakness or the other. So in that chart, if the 9th house from Karakamsa is afflicted by, is containing Jupiter, who's a little weak, then some kind of weakness can be given even by that Jupiter. And Jupiter can give excess. He can give abundance. And if he is debilitated or in Venusian Amsa, he can give pursuit of sensual pleasures. So, my take is that this applies more in Trimsamsa than in Navamsa. It could also be Shodasamsa, the pursuit of happiness. So, either Shodasamsa or Trimsamsa, but not Navamsa. In Navamsa, my take is, if Jupiter is associated with the 9th from Karakamsa, irrespective of whether he is strong or weak, he will only give good dharma. Only thing is, depending on whether he is strong or weak, the nature of the dharma may be slightly different and the strength of the dharma may be slightly different. The next verse is, Karakamsyacha dashame shubha keta yute ekshite sthira vitto bhaved balah gambhiro balabuddhiman. Karakamsyacha dashame. In the 10th house from Karakamsa, shubha keta yute ekshite. Shubha keta yute ekshite. If a benefic planet is conjoining or aspecting the 10th house from Karakamsa, sthira vitto bhaved balah gambhiro balabuddhiman. Sthira vitto bhaved balah means will have stable income. Sthira vitta, stable money, stable wealth. His wealth and income will be stable. So he will be well off basically. Gambhiraha balabuddhiman. Gambhiraha means Gambhira. He is a little reserved and also strong and reserved. Bala buddhiman. He is strong and he is intelligent. Basically, what it means is his conduct in the society. As far as conduct in the society is concerned, he has dignity basically. He has money. He is strong. Gambhira may also be, instead of being translated as reserved, it may be translated as dignified basically. So he is dignified. He has money, stable money, never struggling for money. Things are fine, and he is strong. He is intelligent. He doesn't make a fool of himself in an assembly of people. So in terms of activities in the society, he has some dignity, which is what 10th house shows. So if the 10th from Karakamsa has a good planet, this is the result. The next one is Dashame Karakamsyacha Papa Kheta Yute Ekshite Vyapare Jayate Hanihi Pitru Saukhena Vajjitaha Navame Karakamsyacha Papa Kheta Yute Ekshite. Dashame Karakamsyacha, in the 10th house from Karakamsa, papakeheta yuteshite. If a malefic planet is there, vyapare jayate hani. Vyapare means, actually vyapara just means your activities. It doesn't necessarily mean business. Vanijya is business. Vyapara is, even though in today's colloquial language we use the word vyapara to mean business, is basically what you are doing. It's livelihood in your activities. So in your karma, jayate hanihi, there will be trouble. Maybe you will be laid off, or if you are doing business, you will have losses. So this is problematic basically. Pitur saukhena vajjitaha means divide of father happiness from father. Why? From the 9th house, this is a margasthana. We have seen earlier also, 10th house basically is, 10th house shows problems to father, death of father or equivalent to death of father. Even if you have father, you don't enjoy the relationship with father. So he is devoid of happiness from father.
And this we can say D12.
Yes, Pitusokena Vajitaha should be in D12. Vyapare Jayate Hani should be in D10, because it is relating to work. The next verse is, but again, just to be clear, like I was saying yesterday in the last class, you don't really see father from the 9th house from Karakamsa. Karakamsa is your sense of who you are, your sense of inner self. And the 9th house from that is the sense of guidance from father, the relationship from father, as desired by your inner self. So, if the 9th house there, if the 9th house, if there is a the margasthana from the 9th house from there is strong, let us say, it has male fix. What it means is, the inner self doesn't really, the inner self when it thinks this is me, it doesn't think of a fruitful relation with the father, it doesn't care basically. So the person doesn't have a strong desire to have a strong father and a strong relation with the father. He doesn't. Whereas, suppose in D12, in somebody's D12, the 9th from Karakamsa has a very strong benefic, let us say. Jupiter is exalted in one sign and he is, let's say, a benefic in the chart. Then, the person desires to have a father figure and good relation with the father. So, it's basically what your soul wants. The ideas of the soul when it basically came into this body. So those are shown by the houses from Karakamsa. It doesn't necessarily show whether he has a good father, whether he is happy with the father or not. That you have to see from the Lagna and 9th house and those things. But this shows what is driving the person from inside. Same with Vyapara. Vyapara is Jayate Hani. All those should be interpreted in that light.
Abstract level. So much abstract level.
It is more abstract. It is not concrete. What the soul, your sense of inner self, what is qualifications. All these are more abstract and more inner. More than abstract, it is inner basically. Inner sense. Dasame Karakamsyacha Bodha Jukrajute Ekshite Vyapare Bahulabhascha Mahat Karma Karo Naraha. Dasame Karakamsyacha. In the 10th house from Karakamsa, Bodha Shukra Yute Ekshite. If Mercury and Venus are aspecting or conjoining, the 10th from Karakamsa. Vyapare Bahulabhascha. Vyapare Bahulabhascha. In the business, in the work that he does, there are a lot of profits. He is gainfully employed or gainfully in business. He is very gainful in his livelihood. Mahat karma karovana means he will do big deeds. So basically he is saying Mercury and Venus combination is very good for this purpose. One is a watery planet, one is a earthy planet. So when it comes to achievements in work that you do, both earth and water are important. Earth gives solidity and liquid makes it flexible. So when you combine them, you have a strong substance. Because if something is just solid, it's difficult to move and it may disperse. When you also add water, right? Suppose you have some soil and water, you mix them, it becomes more stable. Like that, the elements of water and solid, those are very important elements for achievements in terms of work. So, and moreover, Mercury and Venus are natural benefics. So, if their influence is there, the person will be doing good deeds. But again, this may contradict the previous verse. In a particular chart, there may be papagrahas. So, you have to combine both and you have to judge. So, suppose Mercury and Venus are together in the 9th from Karakamsa, but let's say they are bad planets. They are both 8th Lord and 6th Lord or something, 8th Lord and 9th Lord, let us say, are together in the 10th house. Or maybe one of them is debilitated, or maybe they are in inimical sign. Then it may not be so powerful. So bottom line is, if they are strong, then he will do great deeds. Otherwise, you can't really say that. The next one is Karakamshatya Dashame Ravi Chandra Yute Ekshite Guru Drushta Yute Vipra Jatako Rajya Bhag Bhavet. In the 10th house from Karakamsa, if sun and moon are there, Guru Drushta Yute Vipra, they are either aspected or conjoined by Jupiter. Jatako Rajya Bhag Bhavet. Then he will be Rajya Bhag Bhavet, means one in whose fortune Raja is. Rajya Bhag means in his Bhagya Raja is, means becomes a king basically. He is fortunate enough to become a king. In other words, he will reach a powerful position. Why? Sun shows a king and moon shows a king, a soft king, or it shows a prince or a minister. So basically those are the two luminaries, sun and moon. They are royal planets, so kingly planets. So if they are together in the 10th house from Karakamsa, and there is also aspect from Jupiter, then basically they are strong. They are together and their friend is aspecting them. So the person is, and this is in the 10th house of karma. So in his karma, he is very royal. So even if he is not a king, basically he is respected. Whenever he goes to do his work, people treat him with respect. So, but again, like we said earlier, he is giving one kind of results here. Suppose the sun and moon are weak, and even Jupiter who is aspecting them, let's say he is a functional malefic, let's say he is the 8th Lord. 8th Lord Jupiter is aspecting, and there is Amavasya between sun and moon, and they are weak. Then this may not mean that the person will become a king. It may mean that the person may actually struggle. Amavasya Yoga can make you struggle also. So he may aspire, but he may not get. So all this, there is a positive as well as negative. So both are possible. So with that we will end the session on Parashara. We will see a chart. Do we have? Let's restart. We are going to see a chart. So September 17, 1982, 10:41 a.m. Newsread India. Yeah, Newsread India. Nagalakshmi. Yeah, NUZ-VID. Okay, so we are seeing a chart. The data is September 17, 1982. September 17, 1982, 10:41 a.m. Newsread India, NUZ-VID. Newsread India, 80 degrees 51 minutes east, 16 degrees 47 minutes north. So Lagna should be 6 degree 36 minutes Scorpio, and moon should be 26 degree 39 minutes Leo. So the name is Nagalakshmi. Okay, so what are we seeing? What are we interested in?
He got married on May 18, 2006.
Married, one second. It's opening the notepad. It's very slow.
I
Yeah.
think it's
Something going on in the background.
yeah, we could fill that maybe. Yeah, that's
This
we're
close.
searching for the network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can
Remind me later.
Yeah, cancel all of this. Probably the scan is. I didn't turn it
Let
on.
us scan.
This guy.
This one? Yeah.
Can disable it.
Disable or turn on silent mode. Disable.
Yeah. No, that's a firewall disable. It doesn't matter now.
This?
There's no scan going on, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are all okay. So married when?
May 18, 2006.
May 18, 2006. May 18, she was married. Okay,
She's not able to conceive.
unable to conceive. So they want to see what to do. Okay.
Who to do?
Hmm?
Any remedies?
Any remedies? Okay. Okay, let us see. First, let us see if the time is reasonably accurate. Okay. Navamsa is on the border. It is on the border. 17 seconds later, time will change. Navamsa Lagna will change, right? And let's see Saptamsa. How much leeway do we have? Because if we have enough leeway, we have enough leeway. 8 minutes 46 seconds later, 10 minutes 17 seconds earlier. So Navamsa Lagna is accurate. So at least the sign. Sorry, Saptamsa Lagna is accurate. So we can actually proceed to give a reading. If we just care about the sign of the Lagna, not the exact longitude, we can basically proceed to give a reading. But let us, because we need the longitude also, because it may affect the houses, let us look at the data that we have, D9 and the marriage. So if you go to D9, first of all, what dasha should we use? Lagna is not in Vargottama, 7th Lord is not in Lagna, Lagna Lord is not in the 7th house, 10th Lord is not in the 10th house, or maybe 10th Lord is in the 10th house. Actually 10th Lord Sun from Lagna is in the 10th house. So maybe Chaturisi Samadhisha can be applied, 10th Lord in the 10th house. So either that or Vimshottari Dasha. So first let's try Vimshottari Dasha itself, that will anyway apply, and then let's see if Chaturisi Samadhisha seems to be applying. Okay, then we'll just stick to Vimshottari instead of trying something else. So when did she get married? You said 2006. So Rahu Dasha came in 2005 September. Within a year she got married. In the next 6 months she got married. Rahu gave the marriage, right? Rahu, Jupiter. Rahu, Jupiter. So why Rahu Dasha, Rahu Antardasha gave marriage? So if you look at the Navamsa chart, Rahu is the 7th Lord, right? He is actually in the 7th house also. So 7th Lord in the 7th house. So that's a very good indication. He has a very good chance of giving marriage. He is not really in the 7th house, is he? Okay, why Jupiter Pratyantadasha gave marriage? Tell me. Why did Jupiter Pratyantadasha give marriage? Why did Jupiter Pratyantadasha give marriage? Does he have anything to do with marriage? Why did he give marriage? Yes, it can. Yeah. Okay. One more thing is, he is a 7th Lord from Venus. Venus Lagna has 2 planets, Venus, Saturn and Ketu there. So Venus Lagna, and Venus is debilitated. So this Venus Lagna is strong compared to the normal Lagna. So if you take Venus as a reference, from there Jupiter is the 7th Lord, right? So for that reason also Jupiter can give marriage. So anyway, so Rahu, Jupiter gave the marriage. Now let's see Tithi Pravesha. What it proves is the time is not off by more than 17 seconds later. It can still be back. Now let us see the 2005 annual chart. So October 3, 2005 at 7:35 a.m. That is the Tithi Pravesh chart, right? So in that chart, who is the Hora Lord? Jupiter is the ruler of the year. Okay. And which Dasha gave the marriage? What was the date? May 26th? May 28th? 18th. Oh, I mistyped. Okay, May 18th. 2006, May 18th, he got married. So Mercury Dasha. Mercury basically. Mercury gave the marriage. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Mercury giving marriage, does it make sense? Do you have to change the Lagna or is it sufficient? What do you think? Pardon me? He is the UL Lord in Navamsa. You are looking at Navamsa, right? UL is in the middle of Virgo, so he is the Lord of UL. Okay? He is the Lord of UL, he is exalted. That is one thing. And he is in the 7th house. In the Navamsa, he is in the 7th house. Even though it looks like he is in the 8th house, he is actually at 5 degrees, Lagna is at 24 degrees. So he is actually in the 7th house. So Mercury is exalted in the 7th house, in the Navamsa. And he is the Upada Lord, he is exalted. So he does have the ability to give marriage. Is there any other point you want to make? Any other point? And from Venus, he is the 3rd Lord. Right? Venus is the 3rd Lord perfectly in the 3rd house. Venus is at 5 Cancer 31, Mercury is at 5 Virgo 16 in Navamsa.
He's in the 2nd house.
Yeah, he's in the 2nd house, right?
But
He is
very close
on the cusp of close to the cusp of the 3rd house, and he is the 3rd Lord, exalted 3rd Lord. And 3rd again is the Kamatrikona. It's the trine to the 7th house, and he is aspecting the 9th house. He has a very perfect aspect on the 9th from Venus. So basically,
Same Lagna to Capricorn, he's the 9th Lord, exalted in the 9th Lord.
right,
From UL he is the 12th, he is 12th.
right.
Otherwise, even with Capricorn also he is making sense.
With Capricorn, okay, let's try that. So how much do you have to change the time by? You have to change by like 12 minutes or something. So that's first of all unrealistic. Hypothetically let's do it. Let's make it 10:29. Okay. Then and let's make the Tithi Pravesh chart again. Now, if you see now, is it still Mercury Dasha? Because Dashas can change. Let us check. It is still Mercury Dasha. Now, Mercury he is the 9th Lord, but he is in the 8th house. For him to actually come to 8th house, see, Mercury is at 5 degree Virgo. Lagna is at the end of Capricorn. Because we moved it from Aquarius back to Capricorn. So, for Mercury to be actually in the 9th house, Lagna has to be below 5 degrees in Capricorn. So, that is almost another 11 minutes you have to add. On top of the 12 minutes we already added. So, it is like 25 minutes of error. So, it's unlikely. Moreover, now UL has changed. So, he is in the 12th house from UL. And if you move further, UL will change even further. So, bottom line is, we are fine with the original time. So, let's take 10, what was it, 41? 10:41. Let's save it again. Let's go back to the Tithi Pravesh chart. Okay. So, even though, see, this is the thing, we are used to seeing just the signs and say, oh, Mercury is in the 8th house. We are uncomfortable with it. But he is actually in the 7th house and he is exalted. He is in one sign, he is exalted, he is in the 7th house. So, he is perfectly fine as far as marriage is concerned. And like we said earlier, he is UL Lord and he is exalted. So, he does have the capability to give marriage. Okay. Now, anything else we want to do? Any other events we know? Just this marriage? Education, what do you know?
It had BSc in computer science.
BSc in CS, when?
June 2004.
June 2004, she did BSc in computer science.
She did MS in
Yeah, one second. MS in?
computer science
Again, computer science, okay.
in 2006.
MS in computer science when?
April 2006.
April 2006. Okay. So let us see these things. This will be actually useful. So go to D24 and see the dashas. So 2004 she did BS in computer science. So 2004 June she finished. So that was which dasha was it? Let's go back to the natal chart. Let's go to Vimshatri Dasha. Mars Dasha. Mars Dasha, 2004 June meaning Venus. So Mars Venus, her bachelor's degree was obtained in computer science, right? And then in the Rahu Dasha, Rahu she got masters. Rahu masters, Mars Venus bachelor's. Does it make any sense? Let us see. Let us go back to longitudes. We want D24 longitudes. Lagna is at 8 degrees Sagittarius, and if you see Mars, she gave bachelor's education, right?
Yes.
Does it make sense? And how much leeway do we have? 1.5 minutes earlier, Lagna will change. What? In
that
G24.
cannot be possible because you have rectified D9.
No, we rectified forward. Forward 17 seconds or something we had leeway. Backward we haven't rectified. So it may be off by even 5 minutes backwards. We don't know, right? Based both on the Chipravest chart as well as natal chart, we don't know backward error. So it is conceivably, it could be Scorpio, it could even be Libra. Now, why she did that? Why was the bachelor's education in computer science? Why was the bachelor's education in computer science? He did bachelor's education in computer science. Does it make sense to you? Does it make any sense? Forget that it happened in Mars period, and then she stopped the education in Mars Venus. Basically, she got the degree, so education stopped in that period. Forget that fact. For me, so forget that fact. Forget the dasha. Why did she do computers? Why computers? Who gives me computer science? Buddha. Buddha in the second house will give masters in computer science. Why BSc in computer science? The bachelor's was in computer science. Why? Yeah. Actually, do you want to see the aspects? Go to planetary aspect evaluation. Look at the D24. Select both D24. Aspecting planets in D24, aspected planets in D24. So if you do this, who is aspecting the 9th Lord Sun? 9th Lord is Sun. So her point is, she is looking at the aspects on Sun to see who is aspecting 9th Lord. Mercury has only 38% aspect. So is it interesting?
Saturn has 100% aspect.
Pardon me?
Saturn has 100%
On Sun. Okay. Now, should you only look at the 9th Lord, or can you look at the 9th house also?
9th house. 9th house has Jupiter, sir.
Yeah, is 9th house aspect? Yeah, Jupiter is there in the 9th house, right? Actually, is he there? Jupiter's longitude is 751. Lagna is 824. So, assuming that this time is accurate, he is actually in the 8th house, not in the 9th house.
Yes,
Yes,
91%.
that's the thing.
91%.
With this time, Mercury on the 9th house from Lagna, he has 91% aspect. So, he has a very strong aspect. Second thing, where is A9? Where is A9? Mercury owns A9, right? A9 is at, what is the longitude of A9? It is 11 degree Virgo. So, Mercury does have an aspect on A9. And in the 9th house, in the first house from A9, what are the influences? Rahu and Ketu are there. Rahu and Ketu, for me? Oh, you are looking at aspects on A9? Okay, I didn't see that.
63% sir.
So Mercury actually has a good aspect also. He has a 64% aspect on A9. But that is on top of actually owning it. That is the most fundamental thing. He owns A9 and he has 64% aspect on A9, and on top of it, he has more than 90% aspect on 9th house. So there is a strong Mercury influence on the 9th house. both in terms of Arudha as well as actual house. Right? That is one thing. What is the other thing? Ketu and Rahu are in the A9. A9 is at 11 degrees something, and Rahu and Ketu are at 15 degrees something. So they are in the first house from A9. So there is a Rahu Ketu influence as well as very strong Mercury influence. So if you look at both 9th and A9, Mercury is clearly dominating. He is the key planet. So given that, doing bachelor's in computer science does make sense. Right? Now why did she stop in Mars Venus? Why did this end in Mars Venus? Well, the formal bachelor's education is shown by the actual education, formally going to school to get the degree. It is shown by the Arudha of the 9th house, right? A9. From A9, Mars and Venus are
11 degrees Virgo.
Yeah, they are basically the second and third lords who are together within 8 degrees, right? The third and eighth lord is Mars, and second lord is Venus. So Venus is the second lord who's I think possibly in the first house. Second lord who's in the first house, because it was it is close. He's either in the first house or in the second house.
He is actually in the first house, but he is at 10 degrees. So
What I mean is, if the time is a little off, he could be in the second house also. Bottom line is, he is either in the first house or second house, but he is the second lord in bone science. So he is a Maraka, and he is with third lord. We always say third and second lord being together, or seventh and eighth lord being together are Maraka combinations. So here second and third lords are together from A9, and it is Venus Antardasha in Mars Dasha that gave the death of this education, right? So that makes sense. So stopping education in that period makes sense, and the kind of education she did also makes sense. Now what about masters? April 2006 was Rahu.
But I don't. How do you say that she stopped it? She's continuation of after the bachelor's, continued and graduated.
But A9 stopped and A2 started. A9 was stopped by getting the degree. She got a degree, and she no longer goes to that college. She goes somewhere else and to pursue a different degree, not to pursue the same degree.
But
right?
Naturally, that's what happens, right? In the
Right.
process They take
Right.
the BSc doesn't. Maybe the college doesn't.
It ended. It's not a bad thing. See, normally when we say Maraka, you think of it as a bad event. Death is a bad event. But again, even death, this dies and another thing will start. So just like that, bachelor's dies and master starts. So A9 only cares about your bachelor's. It shows bachelor formal, going to so and so college to get so and so degree, going to so and so classes. That is all it shows. If that is done, and you are going to go to a different college for a different degree in a different thing now, this doesn't care about it. The Arudha of that will care about it. So as far as this is concerned, done. You are done basically. You are finished. So it's not a bad thing when we say Maraka. It's Maraka for, there are Marakas for A9. But if you look from Lagna, they are the 5th and 6th lords together in the 11th house. 11th lord and 5th lord together in the 11th house. Actually, that's a good yoga. 5th and 11th lords together in the 11th house is a good Raj Yoga. And 5th and 6th lords together is Dhimanta Yoga. So basically, her own self got enriched. She got a nice degree. Dhimanta Yoga, so she is recognized with a degree. And there is a Raj Yoga, 5th and 11th lord in the 11th house. 11th house is fulfillment of desire. So she must have been happy about it, about the degree. So it's not a bad thing for her. But for A9, her tenure at a particular college to get a particular degree, that's dead basically. That's what we mean by Maraka. It's a heavy word, but okay. So why did she do the next education was also computer science? Why was it so? Now the second house, if you see, it has Mercury in it. Second house has directly Mercury. Mercury is in the second house. He is at 27 degrees and Lagna is at 8 degrees. So he is actually in the second house. He is not in the first house. So second house, he is the only planet there. There are some aspects, but as far as owning is concerned, Sun has a very strong aspect, Venus has an aspect, but as far as being there, it is Mercury alone. So Mercury is in the second house. So given that there is and moreover on the second lord, he has 66% aspect. If you look at the second Lord Saturn, he has 66.9% aspect, right? So he has a more than half aspect on the second Lord, and he is in the second house itself. So masters also being in computer science is possible. So all this is being given by Mercury.
So connection between we say 9th and 2nd house
Continuation basically. No, even otherwise post graduation can be given, but this shows that there is a continuation. Same planet is influencing both. For some people there is a change. They will do computer science and then they will go to, or they will do mechanical engineering, then they will go to computer science. Now, who gave the end of this? Who gave the end of this? Rahu. They are at 15 degrees in Virgo, right? Why Rahu is Maraka for A2? Well, malefic in the seventh house. A2 is at 8 degrees Pisces. A2 is at 7 degrees Pisces. So Rahu at 15 degrees Virgo, he is in the 7th house. He is the 12th lord in the 12th lord of giving up in the 7th house. Any malefic in the 7th house or 2nd house is a Maraka. So he can kill.
He would have probably given it and also taken it.
He would have won.
He would have started the masters in Rahu itself. 2007
Or she may, okay. When did she start, do you know?
Yeah, if he finishes April 2006, he has to start sometime.
2000.
Yeah, it's Mars only, not Rahu. Rahu didn't start because if you look at Mars now, why did Mars start it? It is basically Mars moon that started. Why did Mars start? For me? Yeah. See, moon, why did Mars moon, right? Why did moon start her education, master's education? Moon is with the second lord. Moon is at 9 degree Taurus, Saturn is at 7.5 degree Taurus. So moon and Saturn are conjoined. So on virtue of being with the second lord, moon can give master's education. But why Mars? What is the link of Mars? Mars on the second house from Lagna, he has 59% aspect, more than half aspect, and on Saturn, the lord of the second house, he has 84% aspect, right? Second lord, some 60% or something we saw, yeah, 59% aspect on second house. And Mercury, the planet who is actually giving all this education, he has 92% influence on him, Mars. So because of all these reasons, Mars can start the education, the master's education. Okay, so things do make sense. Now, what we can tell is, what can we tell? We haven't really rectified. Lagna is at 8 degrees Sagittarius, and if Lagna goes back to Scorpio, right? Lagna is in Scorpio, let us say. Then does Mercury giving masters make sense? Well, Mercury has to be in the second house. We can't have Mercury in the third house. So, what does that mean? Lagna cannot be below 27 degrees in Sagittarius. If it is below 27 degrees in Sagittarius, 27 degrees in Sagittarius or Scorpio. Below 27 degrees in Scorpio, Lagna falls. Then Mercury will be in the third house. So, unfortunately, software doesn't tell you exactly how to see that, but we can estimate that, right? So, how much time do we have for this 8.5 degree we have here? Lagna is at 8.5 degrees Sagittarius. For it to change sign, we have 1.5 minutes earlier. Now, the extra degree that we need is Mercury is at 27.47. So, basically 2 degree 13 minutes, right? So, that's approximately 1/4 of this 825. So, add 1/4 of, so the leeway we have already given by the software is 1 minute 34 seconds. Add 1/4 of it on top of it. So, 134 approximated as 60 plus 40 approximately, or 60 plus 36, 96. So, divided by 4 is 24. So, add 24 to 134, so approximately 2 minutes. So, if it changes back by more than 2 minutes, we can't explain the master's education being computer science. I mean, we may be still able to explain, but it becomes a much bigger case. This is very nice case. Saturn, Moon, see, then Jupiter will be the second lord. Actually, you know what? We don't even want Jupiter to be the second lord. If Saturn is the second lord, then Mars having aspect on them, Moon having being with him, that makes more sense for. And moreover, this A2 in Pisces is actually nice. That may change if you change the time. So I think we have a leeway of probably something like 1 minute or 134. We don't really have 2 minutes. Okay. So the time forward error cannot be more than 17 seconds, as we saw earlier based on natal Navamsha and Vimshoti Dasha, and backward error cannot be more than 1 or 1.5 minutes. So maximum 1.5 minutes. So we have a pretty reasonable time. Now let's go on to give a prediction. Actually, before giving prediction, we haven't seen Saptamsa at all. Let's go to Saptamsa. What do you think of the? Let us actually change all the aspects to Saptamsa. Is it weak? Why is it weak? What makes it weak? Rasi chart. Okay, fifth lord of Rasi chart is Jupiter. Right? He is the controlling planet for marriage. He is debilitated. Right. You are right. And he is debilitated in the 7th house. 8th house.
So we have to see reverse, right? We just cross K2.
What? We are not looking at the first child being male or female, all that.
No,
We are just
even to first child to happen, right?
forget the first child. We are just seeing how strong this chart is. Okay. So one thing we normally do is we take the fifth lord of Rashi chart, right? He is the controlling planet. We see how strong he is in the Saptamsa. And right, and he is Karka for children. So how strong he is, that we see. He is in the 8th house. Okay. So what are the other problems? Jupiter being debilitated is definitely a serious problem, and how is fifth lord of tell me about it. Venus, how is he? He is in Manakarka Sthana. It seems like he is in the 7th house, but if you actually look at the longitude, Lagna is at 16 degrees Gemini, Jupiter is at 5 degrees Sagittarius. So he is actually in the 6th house. So fifth lord of the Saptamsa is in Manakarka Sthana. And the fifth lord of Rasi chart, he is in debility and he is in 8th house. So
What is the Lagna you got in
Gemini.
fifth lord is
Venus. And he is in Manakarka Sthana. He is in the 6th house, housewife. So there are two fundamental weaknesses, Jupiter and Venus. And Mars in Lagna, is it good? He is in the 12th house. Okay, it's not that bad then. He is the 6th lord in the 12th house. He is not a problem. How is he? He is in the 2nd house. Yeah, Lagna chart is in the 2nd house. With a little error, he could be in the first house, in the 3rd house itself. So he is in the 2nd house or 3rd house. Either way, it's not really ringing bells, any alarm. It's perfectly fine. Mercury is perfectly fine. Anything else? Any other problems you have? And like you said, Moon, you said is in Manakarka Sthana. Yeah, Moon is in Manakarka Sthana. So the 2nd lord of family, Moon is in Manakarka Sthana. 5th lord of children, Venus is in Manakarka Sthana. Jupiter is weak. Anything else? Any other factors that you see? Okay. So we do have some weaknesses. Actually, we have some serious weaknesses. And there is this Sun Rahu. The Saptamsa. How close is it? Sun is at 2 Pisces 41. Rahu Ketu are at the other extreme. So it's not. Sun is not affected. 3rd lord Sun is not. Saturn is in the middle. Sun is at the beginning. Saturn is in the middle. Rahu Ketu at the end. So this combination is not really a problem. So it's mostly Venus, Jupiter, and Moon. Those are the problem. Another thing you can see is you can see the 5th lord from Jupiter. If he is strong, he can give children. But the fifth lord from Jupiter happens to be Venus, and he is actually in the 11th house from Jupiter. So he is not bad. From Jupiter he is not bad. But the thing is, he is not in a friendly sign. He is in an inimical sign. So it's not like there is a really strong planet there. It's not like fifth lord from Jupiter is in 5th house or something, or exalted or something like that. So okay, so that doesn't save either. So the only savior can be Dasha. Actually, statically, forgetting Dasha, this is a very, very weak circumstance. Very.
Some parents who want one child.
Mhm.
I've got one parents who married in 14 years.
She was born. I see.
Nagapur, she was only in 50.
Mhm.
Prayer కూడా
I see. Okay, we'll. Mhm. Yeah, that is what I was concerned about when I saw Sun, the third lord. Third is the house of vitality. So, for getting a child, that is also important. So, third lord Sun is afflicted by Rahu and Ketu. So, I thought maybe there is some Saturn, Rahu, Ketu. So, there is some evil. Yeah. Moreover, if they are all in Kendra, they can give Sapadosha. So, all these things are there. So, I wanted to see, but Sun is at one end, Rahu, Ketu at the other end. So, that weakness doesn't seem that strong to me. Now, what Dasha is running? Now, Rahu Dasha is running. Rahu Dasha, Saturn Anta Dasha. Is that conducive to getting a child? Both are the 9th lords. And Rahu is in the 4th house, Saturn is in the 3rd house. Rahu in the 4th house. Is he conducive to getting a child? If at all this first child is born, where do you see the child from? Which house? Sagittarius. The 5th lord, this is an earth sign, Gemini. The 5th is Libra. The lord is Venus, so you see from Venus in Sagittarius.
Both are the third lord. For the first child.
Yeah.
There's third house lord.
Right. So, as far as the first child is concerned, from that Lagna, Venus, Rahu and Saturn are third lords. So, they do have a possibility, they do have a chance. What about after Rahu Saturn, it will be Rahu Mercury. What about Rahu Mercury? Does he have a chance of, is there a chance of that? Does it look better? Why? Yeah. Yeah, from Venus, he is in the he is the 7th lord, but he is in the 9th house. 9th house. No, Rahu Saturn. Yeah, I know. Rahu Jupiter is running now, but the Dasha to Antardasha to come next is Rahu Jupiter. So even if she conceives now, it will be childbirth will be in Rahu Saturn. So we are seeing if there is a chance of childbirth in Rahu Saturn, Rahu Mercury, Rahu Ketu, etc. So Rahu, if you see Rahu Saturn from Venus, Rahu is the third lord, so he can give a child, and Saturn is also from Venus. Venus is at 5 degree 40 minutes in Sagittarius. So Saturn is also in the, but they are in the 10th house. Rahu and Saturn are in the 10th house. They are the third lords. On the other hand, if you look at Mercury, he is in the 9th house. He is in the 8th house? No. Oh, I see. No, actually no. He is in the 9th house. He is at 15 degrees Leo. So, a planet in the 9th house. Moreover, apart from it, forget the first child. In general, for Lagna also you have to see. From Lagna, this Mercury is the Lagna Lord. Lagna Lord gives auspicious things and new beginnings, etc. So, instead of 9th Lord can also give a fortune, but Mercury is a much stronger candidate for childbirth than Saturn. Saturn is basically he is a planet who depletes. So, both Rahu and Saturn giving is unlikely because they don't specifically have anything to do with the 5th house or 5th Lord. They only have, from the 5th Lord, they happen to be the 3rd Lord. That's all. Whereas if you look at Mercury, he happens to be the Lagna Lord and he is in 9th from Venus. So he has a better chance of giving the child. So my guess is compared to now, compared to the Rahu Saturn, Rahu Mercury has a better chance, better potential. And let us see the Tithi Pravesh chart. So 2013 to 2016 we are saying. So let's see the Tithi Pravesh chart of 2013 first. Anything interesting? Hora Lord is Moon. Moon is the ruler of the year. And if you look at the Rashi chart, Jupiter is in Lagna. If you look at the D7, it's on the border. Lagna is either Cancer or Leo. It's right on the border, 29 Cancer 5. So it could be Leo also. So it's tough to say. Okay, let's jump to 2014. Mars is the ruler of the year. Is there anything interesting? Mars is Saturn. Saturn is the fifth lord, right? And in the Saptamsa. If you take the Rashi fifth lord is Jupiter, and in Saptamsa where is he? He's in the ninth house. So even though he is in an inimical sign, he is in a trine. Jupiter in a trine, the Karaka. And if you look at the ninth lord, Venus, who shows the first shade in this chart, right? Where is he? He is in the sixth house. He is in Manakarka Sthana from Lagna. So again, it's not really that good. Let us see the next year's chart. Is there anything interesting in this chart? Ruler of the year is Saturn. Saturn is the ruler of the year, and the fifth lord is in the fifth house. So one auspicious thing. Fifth lord Sun is in the fifth house, and Jupiter, he is the ninth lord. He is in the eighth house, but he is in own sign. So the ninth lord Jupiter is in Mola Trikona. The fifth lord Sun is in own sign. So and also Lagna lord is also in own sign. Lagna lord Mars, he is in eighth house, true, but he is in, even though he is in eighth house, he is basically in one sign. So Lagna lord, fifth lord, and ninth lord, all the three trine lords, they are in one signs. And the fifth lord from Jupiter is also in one sign. Of course, actually first, fifth, and ninth lords, all from Lagna as well as Jupiter, they will all be in one sign. So there is potential. And if you look at the Rashi chart, the fifth lord in the Rashi chart is Mercury.
Why you say that the fifth lord is in its own sign?
Sun.
No, I'm saying here you're saying that, right?
From Jupiter, fifth lord Mars is in one sign here. Not in fifth, but in one sign. So from Jupiter, the Lagna lord, fifth lord, and ninth lord, from both Lagna and Jupiter, it's the same planet, Sun, Mars, and Jupiter.
Okay.
So they are all in one signs. One in one sign, one in one sign, one in Mola Trikona and one sign. So there is potential. Basically, things are looking better. Now Saturn is in the third house. Is he in the third house actually, or second house? Yeah, he is in the third house. Saturn, a malefic, he is in the third house. 11th lord of gains, he is in the third house. And Saturn and Jupiter are aspecting each other. So there are nice indications. Let's go to the Rashi. In the Rashi chart, fifth lord is Mercury. Even though he is in the fourth house, he is basically exalted. Right? And let's see, Sun and Moon are close. Mercury is a little away. I wish he was also close. Anyway, so Mercury Rahu are very close. Mercury and Rahu have a very close yoga. Unfortunately, none of them is Hora Lord. Had they been, it would have been nicer. But the 10th Lord and the 5th Lord are together. So there is a Raj Yoga between Mercury and Rahu. And 5th Lord being exalted in the 5th, exalted and in Mola Trikona. That is a strong factor. And how is that Mercury in Saptamsa? He is in Lagna itself. So the 5th Lord of the Rashi chart is exalted in the Rashi chart, and in Saptamsa he is in Lagna. That is good, associated with the 11th Lord. So overall, I think this year holds more potential. But the thing is that Mercury Dasha lasting till then? It is till 2016 March. So we saw 2015. So there is an overlap between the Mercury Prachant Antardasha in Rahudasha in the natal chart as well as the Sthiti Pravesh chart. There is an overlap. So there is a chance during this year. Compared to the previous 2 years, this year looks like a much stronger candidate. Let's quickly check one more thing, Putra Sahamam, right? Oops.
But you check in the natal
Garga is Venus. Okay. Yeah. In this chart, let's see the Putra Sahamam. Putra Sahamam is at 26-degree Cancer. Putra Sahamam is at 26-degree Cancer. Is there anybody influencing it? Is there any link of that with the fifth house or fifth lord? 26-degree. Yeah, right. So the Lord Moon, he is with Mercury. Even though there is a lot of distance, he is basically close to the fifth house cusp and he is with the fifth lord. So Putra Sahamam has a link with the this guy. Let's do one more thing actually. Let's do user defined special point. Alt EU edit. User defined special point. Let's define a special point. Putra Sahamam as a special point. It is Putra Sahamam. Right? Define Putra Sahamam as a special point. And then you can get the divisional longitude of that in the Saptamsa. Let's see the special point that we define, which is at 26-degree Cancer. See where it is in D7. What I want to see is there any good influence in D7. So in D7, Putra Sahamam is at 2-degree Cancer. Right? It is at 2-degree Cancer.
You see SP?
Yeah, SP. Or whatever name you give. When you define a special thing, you can call it Putra Sahamam PS. You can define Putra Sahamam PS, whatever you want. You can just leave it as special point name and the symbol is SP. Then it will show as SP in the chart, and also, but in the longitude display, all divisional longitudes, its name will be given, not the symbol. So it will say special point. So that is at 2-degree in D7, it is at 2-degree Cancer, 5 minutes. Right? Degree Virgo. Where is it in the Rashi? 26 Cancer 1. Okay. Alt EU. Make sure 000 for the delta. 0 degree, 0 minute, 0 second ahead of. Select Sahama and put Putra Sahama there. And then say OK. If there is an offset here, like 1 degree, 30 degree away, if you are experimenting earlier, then okay. Yeah, 2 degrees Cancer. So okay, let's go back to the previous chart. So 2-degree Cancer. So the thing is, what we are looking for is it strong, or does it have an aspect by somebody who's promising a child in this chart? Is it linked to the 5th house, or somebody who's promising a child in this chart, or is it otherwise strong? So the lord of that sign, the lord of the Putra Sahamam is Moon. He is in Moon sign. So that is one good thing. Moreover, Jupiter has an aspect on it. Right? I'm not sure if the aspect evaluation shows the special point also. I'm not sure. I don't know how I programmed it. But you can estimate, yeah, it is showing.
It should show.
Oh, it's actually, it has no aspect. Why does he have no aspect?
8 lo పడిపోతుందేమో అనిపించింది.
8 also, there should be 64% aspect, right?
27 is at 13 degrees Sagittarius.
Saturn is aspecting. Saturn and Rahu have the highest aspect.
We are looking at aspect evaluation.
Yeah. You know what? Special point calculation is messed up. I have to fix it. Because it shows the longitude in D7 as 26, Sagittarius 53. That's wrong. That may be natal. Yeah, natal longitude. Right.
So it didn't change it.
It didn't change.
It picked the natal one.
Yeah. So when it to find the divisional longitude to see the aspect evaluation, it basically picked the natal chart. Oh, for special point. Other planets it is picking the right one. See what I am saying? So when you went to the Tithi chart, other planets their longitudes have changed. Sun is no, actually no. Forced natal chart, no. Oh, I said forced natal chart for aspectal positions. That's the thing. Okay, I unchecked it. Now it should show. Now 2 degrees Cancer. Jupiter has 85% aspect. He should, because it is between the 7th and 8th house. It is actually in the 7th house, and it is before the 8th house cusp. 2 degree Cancer, Jupiter is at 15 degrees Sagittarius. So it should be in the 7th house. So it should be between 100 and 75. So I was wondering why it's not showing. There is a bug. So okay, so when you do the aspect evaluation, uncheck the forced natal chart even when displaying Sadhaka TP transit. So the thing is, you want to see the impact of the transit chart or TP chart on the natal chart. At the time of this TP, which planet is aspecting, let's say, natal Puttasamam in D7 or natal Vivahasamam in D9. So you can see those things also. Natal Venus, who's aspecting.
If you force it.
If you force it. You can see cross chart impacts, right? Right now, Jupiter may be influencing my natal Rahu in T24. So like that. So you to see that. So to see that, you have that button. So that the checkbox should be unchecked. Then it will show the Tithi Pravesh Saptams. Anyway, so the Putra Sahamam, which is at 2 degree 5 minutes in Cancer in the Saptamsa chart, that is having a very strong aspect of Mars, 96% aspect, Jupiter, 85% aspect. So these are the strongest aspects. So Mars is the Lagna Lord and who is in one sign, and Jupiter is the 9th Lord who is in 9th house. And Mars is also 5th Lord from Jupiter. So both of them are very important planets. And their aspect on the Puttasamam is auspicious. In addition to Puttasamam Lord in the Rashi chart being with 5th Lord. So that and this together, this is basically, this is good. Now let us see 2015 end and 2016 beginning. That seems like the period. Let's see the dashas. Tithi Ashtotri dasha. What are the dashas in this time period? Up to Mars dasha, I think. Based on the natal Vimshotri that was ending, the Maitri Pachanda dasha was ending in March-April time frame, right? So up to Mars dasha. So it can be Rahu, Venus, Sun, Moon, Mars. These are the dashas. Mars of course can give, being the Lagna Lord. He can of course give a child. Secondly, can Sun give a child? Of course. He is the strongest candidate because he is the 5th Lord in the 5th house. So January 2016 is the best opportunity. The next is March, April 2016. So first 3 months of 2016. That is the period of likelihood. Let's make a chart for, let's say January 20, 2016. Let's see the planetary position then. And Jupiter will be at the end of Leo. Jupiter will be at the end of Leo. January 20, 2016. Just some date. Let's see. Actually, January 7, 2016, Jupiter will become stationary. Using the stationary transit thing, Jupiter was moving direct. It became retrograde. Where? At 29 degree Leo. Okay? At 29 degree Leo, on January 7, 2016, Jupiter becomes stationary. So, when he is at 29 Leo, does he have an impact on any key point in the natal chart? That's what we want to see. Where is D7, right?
So we have to go to
Natal chart. Sun 24 Leo, where? In what chart are you getting? Let's see. What chart are you looking at?
Mercury is in 15 degree Leo, sir.
Yeah, but that's too far.
That's too far.
That's okay. Basically, if somebody is very close to that or being very closely aspected, then you can be almost confident. But that is not happening. And see if any Arudha Pada is aspected by Jupiter, not really, in the D7. No, actually this is also not that important. Okay, so bottom line is we have nothing really that interesting. Now let's see, forget the stationary transit, let's see other, any other transit. One second, let's see Saturn. Okay, let's generally see where Saturn is. Actually, let us go back to the natal Saptamsa chart. Who are the important planets for childbirth? Venus is an important planet. But the thing is, Venus transit, if we see when he is aspecting A5 or things like that, we have a 5-month, 6-month window. So it won't let us narrow down. So we can't really use Venus transit. Who are the other planets who are interesting? Jupiter is the 5th lord in the natal Rasi chart. So Jupiter's transit is one important factor. And what about Saturn? He is the Antardasha. Actually, Rahu is the Antardasha lord, right? So Rahu is important planet. So let us look at Rahu. He is the Dasha lord. And also Saturn is the 9th lord. So let us look at Saturn and Rahu transits. So at that time, on January 20, 2016, Saturn is at 19 Scorpio. So around 19 degrees Scorpio, is there anything interesting in the Saptamsa or Rashi?
20 degree Scorpio, sir.
20 degree Scorpio. 20 degree Scorpio. Is there anything interesting? A2 in D7, A2 is at 18 Capricorn 23. A2 is basically family. Second house is the house of family. 18 Capricorn 23. So Saturn owns that Arudha and he has a strong influence. So there is a chance of somebody coming into the family. But the thing is, there could be adoption or it could be a childbirth. You can't tell. If it's A2, you can't really tell that it's a childbirth. And let's see, is there any other planet? Actually Jupiter. That is good. So Jupiter of D7 is at 17 Capricorn 18, right? You see that? And in transit, Saturn, who is at 19 Scorpio 4. So he has third aspect, right? So there is a Saturnine influence on Jupiter. Jupiter, who is the 5th lord of natal Rasi chart. Let's do one more thing. Let's do the progression thing. Let's do, actually we didn't see Rahu. Let's see Rahu also. Where is Rahu? Oh, Rahu is actually conjoining Jupiter. He is at 29 degree Leo. 29 degree Leo. Is there anything interesting in the natal D7 around 29 degree Leo? There is. And let's see Arudhas. Nothing in the Arudhas. Okay. So planet wise there is one thing very interesting. No, don't just look at somebody who's there. Aspects. So is there any aspect, is there any interesting natal position closely aspected by that Rahu? When Rahu is transiting 29 degree Leo, is there a, see,
Rahu itself. Right?
Rahu himself, natal Rahu is at 28 degree Virgo. Rahu has full aspect on the second house from him. So, right? So Rahu is basically within like less than a degree. He is aspecting his own natal position and he is the Dasha Lord. So Dasha Lord in transit, he is aspecting his own natal D7 position. So that is conducive. And he is the 9th Lord in the Rasi chart, apart from being Dasha Lord. So that is very interesting. Let's apply the progress Vimshottari Dasha progression research. Okay, let's say January 20. Actually, even if you change by a few months, the positions won't change that much. So this is fine. 2016 January 20 noon. So let's make Vimshottari Dasha progression. Okay. So the progressed, if you look at the progress positions, the Jupiter is the fifth lord of the natal Rashi chart. Let's see his progress position. His progress position is 16 Cancer. His progress position is 16 Cancer. What we want to see is anybody aspecting him? Is anybody aspecting 16 Cancer? Anybody having to do with child aspecting 16 Cancer? Not really, right? Yeah, there is no aspect of interest on 16 Cancer. You can say Saturn at 19 Scorpio has half aspect, but don't worry about half aspects. It should be at least 3/4. So on progress Jupiter there is no aspect. Is there any other progress position that is closely aspected? We are looking at 2-degree kind of aspect, 2-3 degrees, nothing more than that. Any other planet being closely aspected? Moon. Where is progress Moon? Where is progress Moon? You see progress Moon, he is at 27 degrees Sagittarius, right? Have you made the progress charts already? Confused? Okay, go to miscellany, select the progressions, bottom tab, and enter the date of interest, January 20, 2016, 12:00 noon, and click on the Vimshottari Dasha progression button, and then dialog box will come and say only the Lagna, 9 planets and other bodies available as Vimshottari Dasha start points are accurate in this chart, others are dummy, right? And then once you have the chart, Lagna should say 4 Sagittarius 45. Actual Lagna is in Scorpio, right? But the thing is, if you keep progressing, it changes. For example, Moon is in Swati. At the time of birth, Moon was in, actually let's go back to natal. Moon was at 26 Leo, 39, right? Moon was in Uttara, Pura Phalguni. But he was running Venus Dasha at birth. But right now he is running Rahu Dasha. So if you make the progress chart, it will show Moon in Swati. Similarly, Lagna Vimshottari will be Ketu Dasha, that is why it is in Mola. And it will calculate exactly how much of the Dasha is over, and based on it will place it. So, do you get Lagna, progress Lagna at 4 Sagittarius 45 and progress Moon at 12 Leo, 12 Libra 31. Okay, now go to basics and get the all divisional longitudes. Or you can do in the same window, but it will be too small. In the miscellany window, this will be too small to see. So go to see the D7 positions of various planets. So if anybody is very closely being aspected by somebody associated with that house in the natal chart, somebody who signifies childbirth in the natal chart, in the natal Rashi and D7, that planet should be closely aspecting somebody again who is auspicious for childbirth in the progress position. And that it should not be like 5-6 degrees, it should be within 2-3 degrees, very close aspect. Then there is a possibility of that result. And one thing that I have seen so far is this guy Moon. Progress Moon is at 27 Sagittarius 40. And where are Rahu and Jupiter at that time? They are at 29 degree Leo and 28. They are at 29 degree Leo in transit. That if you make the transit chart for January 20, Jupiter and Rahu, the Dasha Lord Rahu, the 9th Lord and Dasha Lord Rahu, and Jupiter, the Karaka and the 5th Lord in the natal Rashi chart. So those two planets, they are conjoining very close. They are conjoining close to 29 degrees, and they have within 1 degree, they have an aspect on the position of Moon, progress Moon. And if you go back to the natal chart, and 1 second, is there anything else? Okay. So is any Sun has 3/4 aspect. Okay, good. So that was the other thing. So Patrasahamam. So progress Patrasahamam is in Leo 7 degrees, And Sun at 6 Capricorn is aspecting, so Putrasami is also being aspected. Okay, let's go back to the natal chart. What is the significance of moon in the natal Rashi chart? Sorry, natal Saptamsa chart. In the natal Rashi chart, he is the 9th lord, showing fortune basically. And in the Saptamsa chart, what does he show? Does he show childbirth? Unfortunately, he is not exactly. He is in the 8th house, he is not in the 9th house. 9th house would have been good. That would have shown. See, the thing is, you get a child because of 4 punya. So 5th and 9th, if they are involved, it is your child being born. Whereas this is in the 8th house. 8th house shows something suddenly gained or some misfortune, something unfortunate associated with it. And he is the 2nd lord. 2nd is the house of family and growing the family. So it shows family, addition to the family, but it doesn't necessarily show child being born. So based on several factors we have seen, this is the best period when something is possible. They should try definitely for this period. And my suspicion is it may be an adoption rather than conceiving a child. That is my suspicion. So they should really keep trying, and we will give a remedy. We'll look at it shortly. But based on the transits and based on the Thipravesh and all the factors we have seen, it seems more likely that there will be an adoption of some kind. And the thing is, moon being in Manakarka Sthana, the 5th lord being in Manakarka Sthana, Jupiter being debilitated in this Saptamsa chart, all these factors also suggest they make it very difficult to conceive. So probably she will adopt later. She will wait for a few more years, try for her own conceived child, and later they will probably make up their mind and adopt. So, one second. But Tithi Pravesh chart has 5th lord, 9th lord and Lagna lord very strong. So there is a chance of conceiving a child. But the problem is, what Tithi Pravesh shows, the natal chart is not really that strongly showing a childbirth, and the transits are not really that conducive. So that is why I am afraid it may not be conception, even though Tithi Pravesh is showing a lot of fortune. So unless other factors also coincide, it is unlikely. So it may not be, but there is some chance. I can't put a number, but there is a 50% chance or maybe 40% chance of conceiving a child and getting a child in the early 2016. What are the remedies she can do? So when it comes to remedies, there are 2 factors. One is based on the horoscope, which planet is causing trouble, we recommend worship of those planets. That is one thing, or deities associated with them. That is what we normally do. But the thing is, for several things like getting a child, getting married, these things, there are some standard remedies. Suppose you have a lot of loans and you want to pay back. Again, Pranamimocha Gangarka Stotra, or in general praying to Mars. Yeah, Santan Gopal Mantra is very auspicious for this kind of things. Santan Gopal Mantra or Santan Gopal Homa is a very good idea. And one thing I will suggest is, and the Lagna Lord is Mercury, he is in the 3rd house or 2nd house. So Lagna Lord being Mercury, again based on that, Vishnu Avatara, and what Dasha is she running right now? She is running Rahu Dasha. But we are hoping that she will get a child in the Mercury Antardasha. So again Mercury is coming to the 4th. So it is Rahu and Mercury. Okay. What I suggest is, actually Santan Gopal Mantra is fine. What I suggest is, on Saturdays, for Rahu, I say on Saturdays and Wednesdays. Saturdays and Wednesdays, for Saturn and Mercury, for Rahu and Mercury basically. For those two, on those days, read the Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra with Samputikarana with the Santan Gopal Mantra. The thing is, Santan Gopal Mantra is a good mantra, but it is a highly sattvic mantra. And such mantras will work if you do in lakhs. Who will do in lakhs these days? If you really sit down, if you have that kind of dedication, you just sit down every day, you spend like 5-6 hours, keep doing that mantra again and again and again and again. And on top of it, you do that for, let's say, a couple of years. Irrespective of the weaknesses in the chart, it is very likely that unless there is a terrible sapa from a Rishi or something in the previous life, you will get a child. These mantras are very powerful. I am not saying Santan Gopal mantra is not powerful, but people are not dedicated enough to cultivate that power. So Santan Gopal mantra usually doesn't work that easily for people. Such specific mantras don't work that easily. On the other hand, Vishnu Sahasranama mantra, Vishnu Sahasranama stotra is enabled for the Kali Yuga basically. Let me put it that way. Other mantras are generic mantras, but some mantras have been enabled for this age, like Chandi Patham, mantras of Ganesha. That's why they say Kalau Chandi Vinayakau, and also worship of Venkateshwara and Vishnu Sahasranama stotra. All these are enabled for the Kali Yuga. They are Surabha Sadhyas, Hanuman Chalisa, things like that. So what I suggest is, do the Vishnu Sahasranama and then do the Santan Gopal mantra, then Vishnu Harkaro, Bhutabhavyo, Prahu, Bhutabhavo, Bhutatma, Bhutbhavana, then again Santan Gopal mantra, then the second sloka, then Santan Gopal mantra, then the third sloka, Santan Gopal mantra, like that. And then the 108th sloka is Varmali Gadi Sangi, that one. And then when it is done, again do the Santan Gopal mantra. So between every two slokas, there is Santan Gopal mantra. So do like that and do as many times as you can. Basically, if you do once every Wednesday and Saturday, it's hardly sufficient. It won't cut it. It won't make the cut. So if somebody is struggling to live, somebody is very weak, let's say, if you just give 2 grains of rice every day, he won't survive. He will die. Basically, if you want the person to survive, you have to give at least a fistful of rice. So like that, she has to do maybe, if she can do 11 times every Wednesday or Saturday, pick Saturday or Wednesday and do 11 times Vishnu Sahasranama stotra like this. If she does it for a year or 2, that has a potential to help. Anything less than that, she can do, but it may or may not work. 11 times on either Wednesday or Saturday, Vishnu Sahasranama with Santan Gopal mantra. And if somebody can actually do home, that will be even better. That is also possible. And in that case, maybe 3 times, do 3 times home. That is also possible. If they can't do that, then go for Japam and do 11 times every day, once every week. And like that, do for a couple of years, 2-3 years, keep doing. And then there is a chance, because the doshas in terms of Moon, Jupiter and Venus, doshas are very severe. Let's actually see one more thing. We didn't see the aspects on Lagna. Who are aspecting Jupiter and Lagna in the Saptamsha? Lagna is being aspected by Venus, and Saturn has a very powerful aspect. Okay. So 8th Lord and a planet in Manakarka Sthana have aspect on Lagna.
And Rahu is there too.
Yeah, Rahu is there. Okay. The weaknesses are quite strong. Very powerful weaknesses are there. So powerful karmas will require powerful remedies. So I don't think just by doing Santan Gopal mantra 108 times every day or something, anything will happen. That is not going to cut it. It needs to take a few hours of our time every week, every day or every week. Then only there is some potential. So with that we will end the class. Good luck to her. I'm not very positive. There is a 40% chance maybe. It's not a very positive case. Unfortunately, we can't change the destinies of people. We can only read them. So with that I will end the class today. Om Sarvam Sri Krishnarpanamastu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Sarve dharmika jana sukhino bhavantu. Yavad bhumandale sanatana dharmo vardhatu. Sriyashatah bhartakhande. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.